So, hello everyone, welcome back to STW Sports. I'm host Samuel Wright, joined by MK Dons fan Jordan Harrison. Well, Jordan, welcome to the show. And of course, MK Dons so far having a pretty good season in Sky Bet League One. 7th in the table, playing some decent football. What have you made of it so far?
I think it's been really good. I think we've had our ups and downs. We've had good games and bad games, obviously. I think our best game was Cambridge at home and Crewe away. I think we had a bit of a shaky start, but then we turned it around and just kept on flowing with the play. A few little mistakes in the build-ups to their goals, but then we got back and then we scored. I've got to say our worst game was probably Rotherham. We got totally dominated. I've not seen us dominated like that at Stadium MK for quite a while. They just thoroughly outplayed us. We couldn't handle their right winger. We just couldn't handle the pace. A few defensive mishaps and a few mistakes by the younger players cost us, I think.
Yeah, in terms of the way Russell Martin left the club at the start of the season, obviously it kind of come out of nowhere, really, him joining Swansea. And then, of course, you did bring in Leo Manning, of course, who's also a very young manager like Russell Martin, done a very good job so far. Did that worry you at all when Russell Martin left the way he did, or did you always have faith that Manning would be a good manager?
I'm one of these fans that are really hopeful, and I like to obviously give the manager a chance. I'm not one of these to jump on a new manager and be like, oh, we expect you to do this, because I know that obviously we've got Sunderland in our league, Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, and clubs like that that are fighting to get out of the league. And obviously the fan bases, they've got a much bigger fan base, so they want to get out of the league. So I think at the start, I was quite nervous how we started when we obviously got beat by Bournemouth. I was expecting us to get beat, but I think the way that obviously Russell Martin went around it affected the players at Bournemouth. Obviously, there's no excuse for a 5-0 loss, but obviously their heads just weren't there. At the start, we're all quite who's this guy? We haven't heard of him, and normally we're known to go for the cheap option. But somehow always the cheap option just seems to work out. I've been very, very impressed with him. He seems like he's very calm, but when he needs to, he can get to the players going, which I think is what we need, because we are aiming to get out of the league. We have had games where Liam Manning has been annoyed with the performance, obviously Fleetwood, when we should have won that, and Dwight scored a hat-trick and we went and it was real. I think obviously with the players, we've got quite a young team compared to some of the other teams around us. So obviously the naivety and the lack of experience is going to cost us in games, I think, this season.
In terms of Scott Dwight, he's a player I followed quite closely when he was at Swindon Town last season. He's had a great season for you guys so far. It's 11 goals, 7 assists, I believe he's got. He's having a great season in midfield. What do you make of him?
Oh, I think he's class. I watched some of the highlights of him when he was at Swindon. Obviously, when we signed a player, the Dons show the highlight reel, and I thought he was really good. And this season, he's just exceeded everyone's expectations. Some of the free kicks have just been out of this world. I've not seen free kicks live like some of his before. Absolutely incredible performances. He's very young, but he's not scared. He goes in for tackles. He chases back. He proper runs at people. Some of his play, he is quite young again, so he's quite young. So obviously he's a bit naive sometimes. But whenever he's on a free kick, we never think he's not going to score. We always think he's going to score.
Yeah, in terms of the entertaining football this season, I believe it's 42 goals scored, the third most in the division, and also 29 conceded, which is the most out of the top 9 teams. Is it very entertaining to watch from an MK Dons point of view? And is this the sort of football that you enjoy?
It's very entertaining, but it does get your heart pumping a little bit too much. Some of the games, it's we should be winning comfortably. Gillingham away, we won 4-1, but we started off really, really poorly. And obviously with the form they were in, it was we should win that. And then obviously we started playing it. It's I like the kind of the entertaining football. But there's like some of the games we just seem to start off really slow, and then when the team scores, then it's like our players are like, oh, we need to start playing. And I think that's the one thing we need to change. It is very entertaining, but sometimes it can get quite frustrating. But obviously, with a lack of experience and a new manager coming in, like anything in the top 10, we would be happy with this season. So I do like the brand of football. I think it's very entertaining. It can be a bit stressful at times, but I like that brand of football.
Yeah, and obviously tomorrow you do face Accrington Stanley away from home, a very difficult game. Accrington Stanley, of course, are a good side. What sort of game are you expecting there?
I'm expecting a very tough game. Obviously, we're taking about 300-400. Obviously, with COVID and that, there's been a lot of like fans ill with COVID. I got ill with COVID over Christmas. Obviously, I missed Lincoln away, which I'm home and away, so I don't miss. That's the first away game I've missed for like 1 or 2 years. Obviously, depending on COVID, but I think it's going to be quite tiring for our players for the travel and that, and obviously with Christmas. But it's done. Their John Coleman has done a wonderful job. Can't rate him highly enough. He's a good manager. It's not an easy ground to go to. It's very small and compact. The home fans aren't obviously known as the best, but they do give their support to the players. It is one of their grounds that it's very hard to get an atmosphere going if you're standing, obviously. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think we're just edging.
Yeah, and then after that, the next home game you have, of course, is against the arch enemy, AFC Wimbledon. Just want to ask about MK Dons and Wimbledon's rivalry, actually. What's your take on it as an MK Dons fan? And I mean, when you two play each other and obviously fans are in the stadium, what's it like being at a game like that?
At the home games, it's good. I like the atmosphere. Obviously, there's a lot of tension, but because obviously the away fans are quite far away from our fans, it doesn't make for like that much of a tense atmosphere. But you can definitely sense it when you go in the stadium. Obviously, they think they're the continuation, but we're the continuation. Obviously, I don't know everything because I'm quite young and obviously the history and that. But obviously, they obviously don't recognise us as the Dons, and we don't recognise us. We don't recognise them as the Dons. So obviously, there's that rivalry. It's really enjoyable to go away to the away game against them, and the atmosphere there is obviously very, very tense. But it's very enjoyable because obviously, like it's a real tense atmosphere. Hopefully, I think we'll win like 3-0 against them on Tuesday. But I do think obviously it depends if our players actually understand, some of them, the ones that have not played in it before, understand the magnitude of the game.
Yeah, obviously this season as well, you say you'll take anywhere in the top 10. Playoff record for MK Dons isn't really the best, unfortunately. You've been in the playoffs 4 times and never won any of them. So, I mean, history is obviously history and that records are meant to be broken. But this season, though, are you expecting playoffs, or do you think this season would you just take a playoff push?
I would take a playoff push this season. Obviously, it'd be great if we got a playoffs, but with obviously what happened at the start of the season and the age of the squad is quite young. Obviously, like Lewington's really good in like helping the younger players. But I think if we just aim for the top 10, obviously they're going to aim for a playoff place. Don't get me wrong, we want a playoff place, but at the season we would have took, if someone said top 8, top 9, everyone would have bit your hand off for it. And as long as we keep our best players like Scott Dwight and as long as we have like Lewington in the squad to help, I reckon we could get playoffs next season.
I mean, you have had a few promotions as an MK Dons fan, though, in your time, about 3 or 4. Have you got a particular standout promotion that you've witnessed?
For entertainment, I'm going to say when we got promoted to the Championship, obviously Preston needed to lose or draw. I can't exactly remember. It's quite a few years ago, and we beat Yeovil 5-1. That for like excitement was quality. Very nerve-wracking. My least enjoyable one was Mansfield at home, because obviously that season we had Paul Tisdale and his brand of football was not what we were used to, and it just seems like we were scraping results out, and it just seemed like that we were trying not to get promoted. So obviously when we went 1-0 up and we literally just sat back at 1-0, it was like, it was very tense because we knew that they only needed to draw to go up. So we were obviously pushing for another goal, but our players just wanted the 1-0. So it was very tense. So that's probably got to be the most stressful playoff experience I've been at.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to an MK Dons fan without mentioning that 4-0 victory over Manchester United in August 2014. A crazy day for MK Dons fans. Obviously, yes, Manchester United had a bit of a weaker squad out, but still some very talented and big names in there. What was that like for you as an MK Dons fan? And looking at the fact you had Dele Alli at that point, what have you made of his career since?
I'm devastated for him, to be generally honest. I've met him numerous times. So I know his mum. Obviously, he doesn't really get on with his mum. But he was such like a good footballer. As soon as I saw him play, I thought he's going to make it to the top. I just think with some of like the younger English players like Foden, for example, Dele Alli, Jack Grealish, they just seem like the money and the hype just seems to get to them. And that was our fans' kind of worry, was when he goes to Tottenham, is he going to continue to form? And he continued to form for a season or two, especially with that volley against Crystal Palace. It seemed like he just lost his attitude and his determination. And obviously when Mourinho went in charge at Tottenham, he just didn't get on with Mourinho. And I think that's knocked his confidence. But I think with Conte, will get him to get back to near where he can be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as for the 4-0 itself, though, against Manchester United, was that your favourite day as an MK Dons fan, would you say?
No, I reckon when we were playing AFC at home and Stephen Gleeson scored from about 30, 35 yards, and then Semabor scored that Hill of God in the 92nd minute, I think it was, to win it. That's got to be my favourite game of all time.
Excellent. And final questions I'm going to ask you, and that's, if you to predict right now, where do you think MK Dons will finish this season?
It's going to be tight because obviously we've got Sheffield Wednesday at home, we've got Sunderland away, which is a huge, huge game. We've got some of the big boys to come at home still. So I think currently, I think we could get eighth or ninth. I'd be gutted. I think if we get eighth or ninth in the season, we would have said before the season that'd be a good season.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, thank you very much for joining me, Jordan. That's all we've got time for anyway on this episode. And yes, good luck to MK Dons for the rest of the season, and I hope everyone enjoyed the show.
And you, thank you. Good luck to your team as well.